Hello everyone, how's it going? I'm WoWcrendor, and today I'm joined by the most amazing lore person ever. Is that hyping you up a
No,
little too much?
yeah, that's not me. I'm,
Alright,
I'm just Noble. Hi.
I'm joined by Noble. How you doing?
I'm tired, mate. Very, very tired, but also very, very happy. The work busy schedule, Legion is out, and it's just been no lifing it. I've been enjoying every moment of it. So doing really good.
Well, that's good. Have you just been playing it non-stop then, I take it? Because I've pretty much been playing it non-stop.
I wish. Now, the first week has been playing non-stop, but that was to record like the Alliance and Horde side of things, like get all the voiceovers and whatnot. And this week has been pretty much all scripting and trying to turn it into videos.
Well, that's cool. So for anyone that doesn't know who you are, let's just tell everyone who you are. You can do a little promo.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen out there. My name is Nobbel. I mainly do lore videos for Warcraft over on my YouTube channel. And I try to tell the stories. I tell the stories, the zones, characters. And right now, we're just about the brink of starting the stories in Legion. So I'm going to cover the artifacts, the order halls, the zones, everything from both the Alliance and Horde side. That's what I do.
Nice. You're also very good at it, so go watch him.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. A lot better than me, knowledge-wise, with all this stuff, which is why I need you today.
Yes,
So,
I'm needed.
I've been playing Legion. I've been playing with Jesse, who always goes super lore mode. And just...
Super lore mode, yeah.
Yep.
Calling Jaina Dreadlord, super lore mode. Uh-huh. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So... As we've leveled through, I've had some questions about stuff, but I was like, I asked him, and he's like, I don't know, maybe. And I've asked other people, but I feel like you would know the most. So, first off, there are spoilers in this, so if you haven't leveled through everything, just don't listen to this. So, the first thing I wanted to know is this whole Illidan is like the chosen one type thing. I think that's what it is. Because I did the quest where you go and you watch all the elves stand around him and they're like, he has golden eyes, right? But I want you to like explain this to me in just layman's terms, because I'm like, all right, so he's like, is he the chosen one? Is that what they're getting at?
He's not like Neo from the Matrix, although they are hyping him up like that. Basically what happened, he was born with those eyes, right? In a Night Elf society, if you were born with that color in your eyes, that means you are destined for greatness. And from the day that he was born, Illidan had that feeling, like, I am destined for greatness. But what exactly does that mean? And throughout his storyline, he tried to search for where he belonged. First, every Night Elf in society knew somewhat of magic, and he was quite gifted in it. But first he tried to join Malfurion in his path of druidism with Cenarius. You also see that in the cinematic, and Cenarius pretty much tells him, like, look, you don't have the patience for this. This is not your path, Illidan. Get out, right?
Yeah.
That is actually a change that they made compared to what we previously knew. In the past, it was Cenarius knew that Illidan was not destined to be a druid, but he didn't flat out tell it to his face. And in-game, they've made that change probably to make it look less like Illidan's the bad guy, sort of. So he tried druidism, wasn't for him. Then he joined the Moonguards with Kurtalas Ravencrest and all that. Have you seen that bit yet?
I have not seen that yet.
Well, spoilers for you as well.
Well, that's fine. I would still be like, what's going on?
Right, well, he tried to join the Night Elves being this spellcaster, right? But he was so brash, he was so set on his own power, his own destiny, that he didn't really care about what happened to the rest of them. He had like people empower him, and he flung his spells around in the battlefield, to which Ronan actually realized, like, okay, I need to guide Illidan in this, otherwise things might go wrong. This is again somewhat changed in Legion. In Legion, they portray it as Illidan had no choice. He had to absorb the powers. He knew it was somewhat wrong to do so, but he had no other choice, otherwise they would be overwhelmed. So he did that, and eventually he realized, like, okay, this Night Elf resistance is not going to work. I am going to infiltrate the palace. I am going to pretend to work for Queen Azshara, the Highborn, and the Legion, and I'm going to do damage from within. So that's kind of the whole story arc of his eyes being destined. Now, through all of it, Illidan had these mighty plans. He thought that he was the bomb. as the kids say these days.
Mm-hmm.
But it always pretty much backfired or kind of failed, up to the point where he was imprisoned for 10,000 years, and then his whole story arc played out. But now they show it that Illidan is the golden destined boy, and there's more to come.
So this whole, they're pretty much retconning it in order to hype him up a bit more than he already was.
Yeah, I wouldn't so much call it retconning as in just minor adjustments here and there, just to make him look that much better.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole story arc of him getting this, and yeah, it does go into spoiler territory, but we gave a warning.
Yeah.
This him being this angel of light, flying over the battlefield, leading the army of light. That is something that they first built up in the Illidan novel, and now they also show it in game with the Naru telling us like Illidan has a destiny. We need to bring him back. We need him in this battle.
So, do you feel that he's gonna be the one that like saves us somehow in this expansion then? Because that's what it seems like.
It's hard to say. I first had the feeling that if you bring back someone like Illidan, it would be strange to keep them around. A similar situation what they did with Warlords of Draenor. They had like Gromash, this orcish hero of old. And what they did there was they said, okay, the alternates are just going to stay on Draenor. They're not going to party with us. And I feel like if you bring someone like Illidan back into the story, it would be kind of weird to have him around again, have him interact again. So I always imagined him sacrificing himself at the end of the expansion, right? Sacrifice himself in the blaze of glory. But then you have this vision that shows him leading the army of light. So are we going to see that army of light fight out on outer space? Are they going to go with that story arc in Legion already? Because it seems to go ahead in time a little bit. Well, will he be the hero? They're bringing him back for a redemption story. I don't see him as being the bad guy, the complete bad guy. But I hope that they also don't push him too far. I think most people enjoyed Illidan's story arc because he wasn't the holier-than-thou superhero good guy. He was kind of the, sort of anti-good guy, sort of working on the dark side, but still trying to do good. And I hope that they don't push him too far.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, because I thought he's made out to be this bad guy, but really, he's like, Tyrande, I love you. And then it just kind of kept going, and he's like, I'm a demon now, Tyrande. Do you love me yet? And she's like, no. And that's how I always
It's just not doing it for me.
So that's that leads me into the next question, which is all this like space stuff, right? I am very confused with all the things in space. Like, I know first off you get the big Draenei, like, what are they called? The like floaty alien things.
The floaty alien.
Is that the
things.
Naru?
You mean the crystal that was talking to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the Naru. Yeah.
Okay. Like where are they related to the Titans in some way? The Naru, is that like tied in together? I feel like I know this, but it's been so long since I read about it.
Well, this is like the Naru origin is established within the Warcraft Chronicles, and for those that haven't picked up the Chronicles yet, I can highly recommend it. But connected to the Titans, uncertain. The origin story is that in the beginning there was nothing, and then light came to be. Well, light traveled across the cosmos, left pockets of darkness behind. Light and darkness crashed with each other, and from that explosion, the universe of Warcraft came to be. From that explosion, a race of Titans emerged, but also the Naru emerged, like holy beings. Then in the realm, like they just popped up out of existence, out of creation. Then there is speculation. If you listen to the dialogues and the in-game files, there is hints here and there that Elune might be connected to the creation of the Naru. And Elune's origin is completely kept in the dark. Some speculate that the spirit inside Azeroth is actually Elune. Could be a thing. That could be a connection to the Titans. And what else did I wanted to say? I lost it. Crendor, I lost it.
You lost it. I do know that people have been saying that Azeroth is a Titan, or we find that out, so that is possible, I think.
Yes, there is inside the planet of Azeroth, and there have been multiple planets out there. There is a Titan spirit inside, and that's actually part of the whole Titan origin story. Do you really want to go so deep, so far back?
I mean, I got all day.
Alrighty then. So out of creation, a race of Titans emerged, and the Titans are led by something called the Pantheon. You had like Aman'Thul, you had Golganev, you had Kaskarov, like the pillars of creation, those names. Those are the names of the Titans of the Pantheon. And their mission was to find more Titan spirits to help them wake up and add them to the family. So they went about, and the way that they brought these spirits to life was to bring order to the planets which contained them. So they went about the business, and they found out about this threat in the Great Dark called demons. Sargeras was sent out to battle with the demons, but then even a greater threat was found in the form of, and now I had to, Void Lords or Void Gods, I think they were called Void Lords, who sent out their old god minions to infect planets and infect the Titan spirits inside. Because these Void Lords, they realized that they really wanted to corrupt the Titans, but they couldn't when the Titans are fully grown. So instead they decided to target them as they are in their spirit form, as they're more vulnerable. So they sent out their old gods to infect these planets, just randomly scattered them across the universe, hoping that they would hit the right target. And of course, as we know, Azeroth has a spirit inside, old gods on the planets, they hit home. Sargeras found out about the plans of these Void Lords, and he was terrified, right? He realized that a corrupted Titan like that would mean the destruction of the universe, because that's what the Void Lords want to do. They want to consume, they want to destroy. And Sargeras realized that this simply couldn't happen. So instead, what he wanted to do was destroy the planets, destroy the Titan spirits. Better to be destroyed and possibly reborn, rather than have the Void Lords have the way with it and take it all over. The Pantheon found out about that, what Sargeras was doing, that he actually had shattered a planet, had actually destroyed one of their own. And they were like, Sargeras, what the hell are you doing, bro? Like, what the hell? And Sargeras was like, well, you know, this is going on, and I'm terrified. And they tried to convince him that this was not the right way, that there was a different path. They couldn't convince him of that. He went out to form the Burning Legion and to destroy the universe. Whereas the Pantheon, they had found Azeroth, and instead of destroying it, because it was infected by the old gods, they decided to put some effort in it. They decided to try and cleanse it, to nurture it, and to bring the Titan spirits alive. They had the little war, I say little, they had the war with the Black Empire, which is the empire when the old gods still ruled the planets. They figured out that they can't just rip the old gods out of the planet, because they were so imbued inside of it that ripping it out would cause more damage to the spirit than good. The whole Maelstrom thing, of the Maelstrom that we have now, that is because they ripped the old god Ysera out of the planet. So, yeah, they realized that they couldn't do that. They couldn't simply destroy the old gods, so imprisoning was a better option. That's what they did. They placed some machines on the planet to help that Titan spirit grow, and then they went off again to let the planet do its thing. They confronted Sargeras. Sargeras kicked the crap out of them, and that's the whole origin with the Titan spirit inside.
I see. So, Sargeras almost has like an Arthas-esque like storyline. Like, we must cleanse them. It's like the exact same
This entire
thing.
universe must be purged.
They're just like, why would you do that, Sargeras?
I'm sorry, Sargeras. We cannot watch you do this. Pantheon? Pantheon?
Shit, dude. That's some conspiracy. What if Arthas is Sargeras? Illuminati confirmed.
And Jaina is his Burning Legion Dreadlord. Yep.
Damn, dude. We figured it out.
It's all connected.
So, that was a little
For those,
cool story.
By the way, for those that are like, what the hell is he talking about? This is also confusing to me. I'm trying to summarize something that I've done in like 4 to 5 videos. So if you want more details, like I said, pick up the Chronicles or check out those videos. Shameless plug, because it is simply a lot of information to take in.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you did a pretty good job of summarizing it, but I know there's probably a ton more, so... what are they called again? What are those videos called?
The story of the origin of the Warcraft universe, which leads into the ordering of Azeroth and the Titan Keepers, like 4, 5 videos.
Okay. So let's move on to Velen, because it's like, alright, we meet up with Velen, right? And the Exodar is just getting attacked by the Burning Legion and all the demons. And then Velen goes and takes you to that, the one big Naru, and then they like kill it, and his son was the person that killed it? Like, can you explain that to me? Because I was like, all right. All I got out of that was like, Velen has a son, and he is a demon, or whatever it is.
Yep.
So,
well, the first question most people ask is, wasn't Velen dead? And for those that play through Warlords of Draenor, you have seen a Velen sacrifice himself, but that was alternate Velen, not ours. Ours has been fine all this time. And what we see during that attack is that suddenly Velen has a son. Never been mentioned before, ever. Suddenly he has it. Please care about it. Please feel the emotion. Yeah. And Kil'jaeden, way back when, because once upon a time, Velen, Kil'jaeden, and Archimonde, they were all leading the Eredar together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Eredar. I'm trying to think of the right name. Sorry. They were leading the Eredar together. Sargeras showed up with an offer to join his Burning Legion. Velen refused. He took his Eredar away, and they started to call themselves Draenei. Whereas Kil'jaeden and Archimonde, they did join Sargeras, and they, from Velen's point of view, were called Manari, something twisted, unnatural. But they themselves still call themselves Eredar. So many years later, millennia years later, we suddenly find out that Velen apparently had a kid that Kil'jaeden took in and manipulated and controlled and put him against Velen. And it's a good thing that all of Kil'jaeden's plans so far, like trying to eradicate Velen and the Draenei, that all of that failed. Otherwise, he would have wasted a whole bunch of time on corrupting his son. Because the whole origin story of the Orcs being corrupted is Kil'jaeden trying to kill Velen. And he thought that the Orcs were done with their mission. So why corrupt his son? You know, okay, you got his kid, but Velen's dead. Good job for you. So apparently he was just lucky that Velen survived that moment. But basically it was the pull on your heartstrings, right?
Yeah.
And another thing that some actually miss out on, if you click on the teleportation item and you actually cancel the teleportation, you get a little bit of extra RP. No idea why they implemented it that way, but you can. And you see Draenei troops show up and they're like, Velen, what happened? And Velen is like, okay guys, we are done running away from the Legion. We have spent thousands of years running away. No more. We are getting the Exodar ready and we are going to take the battle to them, which I thought was pretty damn epic. Like Velen finally stepping up and taking charge. So they're working on fixing the Exodar and then they're going to take the battle to the Legion. So pretty much it was to piss off Velen and get his ass ready to fight in this war.
And that was going to be my next question, actually, because I listened to that little cutscene thing, and then I remember there's the comic with Anduin in it, and he's really old, and they're like, wow, we're fighting on, what's that planet called? That they're...
no planet given. Argus. Oh, yeah, Argus, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you think that could even be a future expansion?
Yeah, definitely could be. Like the whole vision with Anduin has been prophesized a few years ago in one of Velen's short stories, in which he was looking at the prince and he suddenly saw this warrior in the armor of light, leading an army of light with dragons in the sky, Horde and Alliance joining them. Naru on the battlefield, it was epic. And that is also why I mentioned the whole Illidan story arc. It's a little bit confusing how that's going to go down, because we now also have Illidan in a prophesized version where he is leading the army of light. So is the Army of Light going to fight multiple battles? Perhaps. Do they have multiple leaders? Perhaps. Is Anduin going to be magically aged during the expansion? Because that has happened before. If we look at Medivh's storyline, Medivh actually aged Khadgar several years when he was younger. Perhaps that's what they're going to do with Anduin. Right now, it's a whole lot of maybes and perhapses. Could we see it happen in an expansion? Absolutely. Will it happen? That is only something Blizzard will decide. But I think what they're trying to do is show us what's to come. Like the whole Army of Light plays a big part in Legion. I don't know if they're going to let it play out entirely, but that is something, you know, time will tell.
All right. Let's switch it over then to Azshara, because when you're in Azuna, you get captured by the Naga, and then you play through that one guy's storyline, where you're playing as him, and he like finds Azshara, and I guess he used to like be one of her soldiers or something, and then he tries to kill her like fireball, and she's like ha ha ha. Like what's happening with that storyline?
Basically around 10,000 years ago, a little bit more, Queen Azshara tried to summon the Legion into the world. Prince Ferrandis, that's the spirit that you're playing as.
Mm-hmm.
He was far enough from the main palace to see what was going down, but to not fall to the corruption of the Legion. If you actually go through the questline, you can like read the books and you read about the story arc. What he tried to do was betray the queen and work against her. But one of his in his courts, I don't recall his name. I do know that he's going to be a boss in either the Court of Stars or somewhere along the way. Anyways, one of his people found out about this. They betrayed him to Azshara, and in her wrath, Azshara shattered the Tidestone of Gorgonev, unleashed a wave of torment on the land, and cursing Ferrandis and those that followed him. 10,000 Night Elves cursed for 10,000 years is the way that they said it. And another nice tidbit is that Azuna was actually destroyed before the whole Sundering happened, before the world of Kalimdor split apart, right? And you got all these continents around. Azuna was already wrecked by Azshara because she was pissed at Ferrandis. And that's the story arc that's happening there.
So do you think there could be an expansion title? Because I know, like, everyone's like, the Eye of Azshara expansion. So, like, do you think that's more likely than the like, going to with the Draenei on the Exodar back to the, like, do you think that would happen first, the Eye of Azshara?
Again, kind of depends on how Blizzard wants to play it out. The Eye of Azshara speculation back when was before we knew that Eye of Azshara was going to be a dungeon. So we were like, oh, Azshara, that could be a really cool expansion. And it still could. Like, you got two major story arcs that they could go with. Azshara, N'Zoth the Old God, and the other side of the planet, because there's apparently a whole different side that we haven't explored yet. Or they could take the story arc into the Twisted Nether with Argus, the Burning Legion, and all that good stuff. Now, again, when it comes to speculation, like, anything goes, right? If you want to say that the next expansion we're going to fight the Flying Spaghetti Monster could happen, we simply don't know. And it also depends entirely on what they want to cram into the expansion Legion itself, because we know from this point on we're going to go into the Karazhan patch with potentially a Tomb of Sargeras raid at some point. And then we got the whole Suramar raid going on, where we're going to get the final Pillar of Creation. That will potentially lead then in that Tomb of Sargeras raid where we're going to seal the rift. But where are we going to go from there? Is the expansion going to go on? Are we going to follow the storyline into what I say most likely is Argus? You know, take the battle to kill Jade and all that. Or is that the cutoff point? And are we going to get an expansion after that? And if that's the case, then they can go wherever they want to go. Like, if they want to say, okay, we need to prepare first before we go into outer space. Let's first deal with Azshara and perhaps Kaltaras with Jaina and perhaps Old Gods and N'Zoth, then we could do that. Or we could go in outer space. Or we could have another Mist of Pandaria, where they take like one single thing and they build a whole expansion around it. That is extremely hard to say.
Yeah. So
I feel like I'm rambling. Am I rambling, Crendor?
You're not rambling.
Am I making sense?
You are making sense. If I am understanding you, I guarantee everyone else is going to be understanding. So that actually brought up a point with the Tomb of Sargeras. Could you, like, explain the Tomb of Sargeras a bit? Because all I know about it is from, like, playing Warcraft 3, where Gul'dan goes there and he's just like, ah, and then he dies and like all that stuff. But, like, can you actually, like, why are we going to the Tomb of Sargeras? Is it like find Gul'dan again? Like, what happens there? What happens when like the raid is over? Or, like, what do you think would happen after we defeat him there?
Are you telling me that you haven't listened to the audio drama yet?
No.
Oh, there you got something good waiting for you. When you find the time for it, go to the World of Warcraft YouTube page. They got like 3 or 4 episodes with the Tomb of Sargeras audio drama, in which they basically explain what Gul'dan was doing there, why he was going there, and why we need to go there. It is so good. It's professionally made by Blizzard. It's delicious.
Really? How long ago did they make that?
Month?
Shit,
something
dude.
like that? Month or 2, yeah.
Shit, dude.
It was all the hype.
All right, well, that's good.
So go check that out. Basically, for those that want to know right now, like, what's going on with the Tomb of Sargeras. Once upon a time, the Tomb of Sargeras was actually part of the whole Night Elf Empire. The Sundering happened, and it was sunk beneath the waves. Many, many years later, Gul'dan showed up. I should say first with whole Agewind. Agewind was a guardian, similar like Medivh was a guardian. And she battled with something that they called the Avatar of Sargeras. Not the real thing, not the whole powerful being, just an avatar with a little bit of his power. She battled with him, and she was actually able to defeat him. But what she didn't know was that in her weakened state, the spirit of Sargeras went inside of her, waiting for the opportunity to strike. But she was unaware of this, so she just went ahead and she figured, what do I do with this Avatar Sargeras? You know, where do you dump such a thing? So what she figured out was, there is this Tomb of Sargeras that we now call it, this building with magical defense in place. I'll just dump it there. I'll surround it with magic that is unable to be broken with magic from Azeroth. I'll save it in there, and all is going to be fine and dandy, and hopefully nobody will ever find it again. So she dumped it there. She went about her business until eventually the council wanted her to hand over her guardian powers, and H-Win just didn't like the council, right? She didn't want to work together with them. But eventually she decided, okay, if I have to hand over my powers, I'm going to do it my way. I am going to make a successor of my own, which eventually turned out to be Medivh. Except she didn't know that the spirit of Sargeras was inside of her. So when she became pregnant, the spirit actually went inside her son. So you gotta imagine that this uber evil titan is now inside your kid. You then give it the almighty powers of the Guardian. It's not a good situation to be in. So Medivh was born, Sargeras inside of him. He was the one who led the orcs into Azeroth, started the whole war. And in comes Gul'dan. Gul'dan figures out that the Tomb of Sargeras is out there, and Gul'dan is all about finding power, right? He knows that the delicious power can be found there. So eventually he leaves the horde behind, like, screw you suckers, I'm gonna go get my power. He goes to the Tomb of Sargeras, he raises it from the bottom of the sea, goes inside, and then he gets the crap kicked out of him by the demons. Because the demons were like, Gul'dan, what are you doing, buddy? You were supposed to lay waste to Azeroth. You were supposed to make it ready for us, and instead you leave the horde behind on a critical moment. What the hell? So, they punished him, they killed him, and then many years later, we come in with alternate Gul'dan, who gets a second chance to do it right. And he hears, as you've seen at the end of Warlords of Draenor, he is sent by our command to our Azeroth. He hears the voice of Kil'jaeden in his mind, guiding him to the Tomb of Sargeras, and he doesn't know what happened to our Gul'dan, so he wonders, like, what happened to this Gul'dan? Khadgar is right on his tail. Khadgar is aware that Gul'dan is out there. He's trying to chase him down. And Khadgar explains to him, like, Gul'dan, do you even know what the Legion has done to our version? Do you even know what happened to him? The demons ripped him apart, Gul'dan. Are you sure that you want to work together with this Legion? So Gul'dan is instructed to remove these seals placed on power stored deep inside the Tomb of Sargeras. And by removing these seals, he can open the gateway for the Legion to invade Azeroth once again. He works on breaking these seals, but all the while he's wondering to himself, like, yeah, you know, Khadgar's telling me that the Legion is doing this. Kil'jaeden is not being very nice to me. You know what? I don't think I want to work for the Legion anymore. So by the time that he breaks the seals, he claims the power for himself, and he tells Gul'dan bye-bye. Or tells Kil'jaeden bye-bye even. I'm not going to open this portal for you. So, at that point, you might wonder, well, what's Kil'jaeden gonna do? Gul'dan and Kil'jaeden have a little conversation with each other. Kil'jaeden explains to him, like, yes, we did punish your original version, but there was a reason for it. He betrayed us. Now you can do it better. You have your choice. Either you let us in, or you're going to betray us yet again. Make your choice, Gul'dan. You can either get your revenge on these insignificant mortals, or be part of the Legion. So Gul'dan is standing there in the Tomb of Sargeras. He fights with Khadgar and Warder Maiev, who's also there. And they just won't die. He feels like he can crush the world with his hands. But these two are standing up to him. They refuse to lay over and die. And he asks them, why? Why won't you just die? Khadgar challenges him. Warder Maiev challenges him, like, if you can kill us, come at us, bro. We're right here. And then he realizes that he's facing a world full of enemies like this. Full of the enemies that brought down our command on Draenor. Time and time again, he will face resistance like this. Sure, he might be able to kill Khadgar and Maiev right now. But what about the next one? And what about the next one? He would be in charge. He would be in control by himself. But he would be all alone. And then it hits him. Like, it would be in my better interest to actually bring in the Legion, be part of it all, and have them to back me up. So he releases the power that he claimed. He opens the gateway. Kil'jaeden seizes that power. The gateway is opened. And the Legion invasion begins. That comes from the Tomb of Sargeras. Demons flow out. Khadgar and Maiev, they run for their lives. They go out to warn the world. And that is where basically the expansion of Legion begins, with Khadgar warning the world, like, yo, the Legion is coming. We come in with our troops. And as you can tell, Gul'dan made quite a good choice, because now he has He marches with the Legion, and not as a servant, but he's actually leading them. So that's basically what goes down at the Tomb of Sargeras, and we eventually figure out by Magni Ex Machina. Magni has been communicating with the Titan Spirit. The Titan Spirit informed him about sealing the rift again. And to do this, we need these pillars of creation. These pillars were used by the Titan Keepers to help shape the land. We need these to close the portal. And that's why you go about getting the Hammer of Kaskarov, to get the Eye of Aman'Thul. All these pillars are going to eventually be used at the Tomb of Sargeras to seal the rift. To your original question, to bring it all back again.
Yeah.
How is that going to play out at the Tomb of Sargeras? Anyone's guess at this point. I would love to see an Avatar Sargeras. It would be such a cool fight.
That would be cool.
Right, can you imagine? Like, even a smidgens of Sargeras' real power. But that's basically our mission there. But in order to seal the tomb again, it's going to be quite a battle, right? Because the major threat of the Legion is coming out of there, is pouring out of there. So that's what we're going to do there.
So, if this portal were to stay open, like, who would come through the portal is what I'm like think. Like, obviously we know Kil'jaeden and Archimonde, but like we fought them a bunch already. Like, would we get some new crazy demon lords or something?
Well, we've seen already the might of the Legion pouring out of the portal. We've seen demons that we faced before, like Lord Jaraxxus from you faced Jaraxxus, that already showed up.
Yes.
Yeah. So he already showed up. We've seen spaceships. We've seen a whole new Legion. This is more powerful than we ever faced before. And yeah, I'd imagine that in time, more powerful beings could come out of there. I wonder if Archimonde is still alive or truly dead. I think they kind of goofed up on that one. But Kil'jaeden could be a potential threat. Now, you mentioned we faced off against Kil'jaeden before. This is true. But during the Sunwell, Kil'jaeden was like halfway through the portal. We didn't face him at the full power, nor we also had Envina helping us out, the power of the Sunwell. So a full fight against Kil'jaeden could be awesome. But yeah, basically it would mean an eternal gateway, the unending forces of the Legion pouring through. Not to mention that demons cannot truly die on Azeroth. All we do is we send them back to the Twisted Nether. So in order to actually end this war, like Illidan has seen, we need to take the battle to the Burning Legion. And that's can only happen if Azeroth is secured, if that gateway is closed again. And then we can think about, okay, let's go to Argus. Let's take the battle to the Legion. Let's show them that you don't mess with Azeroth. Let's take them out. If we can.
If we can. So with Argus, is Argus like in the Twisting Nether then? Or is Argus just like closer or like away to the Twisting Nether? Like, how do you just get to the Twisting Nether by opening portals?
It's very vague. The description is within the Twisted Nether or planets so infused with Fel that it's almost similar. But then some people very fairly have asked the question, what about Outland? Isn't Outland partially in the Twisted Nether? True. If you've played through a Demon Hunter experience, Mardum is like the prison of the demons. For millennia, there was Fel magic there. Like, if there's any planet infused with Fel, it should be Mardum. And yet, your demonic Demon Hunter spirits can still survive there. So it's a little bit vague, like what is classified as being infused with Fel and what is exactly in the Twisted Nether. But apparently Argus is the home base of the Legion, where they are vulnerable. That has been established. So yes, if we would take the battle to Argus, we would actually be able to take care of Kil'jaeden once and for all.
All right. So I feel all right. We've covered enough the demons and the Legion and everything.
One thing that might be interesting, by the way. The whole Argus battle and Illidan and all that. If you've read the Illidan novel, you can actually read about Illidan's true plans during the Burning Crusade and what he was actually working towards. And what he was working on was building up a stable portal between Outland and Argus. He found Argus, the planet. He was able to make like the foundation of the portal, yet we interrupted it before he was able to establish the link between Argus and Outland. So for those who are wondering, like, how are we ever going to get to Argus if we're closing the portal at the Tomb of Sargeras? That could definitely be a gateway in there.
Especially since they mentioned that too, so kind of like, hey guys, you're trying to do it over there. You just want to.
They took so much time to establish it; it would almost be silly to not to use it.
Yeah, but that would be really cool. And that was in Outland. Like, was that at Black Temple?
Yeah.
So it's possible we could have another Outland expansion.
Maybe. or maybe, I don't know if people would enjoy that, like another dark portal ready to go.
Yeah.
But at least it's some sort of gateway to get massive troops there.
Yeah. He might just be like, I know how to build it. We just gotta go to a certain place. Like, it might not even be Outland. It could be wherever.
And the Sargeras Keystone, of course.
So let's go over to Sylvanas, because she's going crazy. And
is she though?
Well, it seems like she's going crazy. I feel like so she became the warchief, and throughout the storyline in Stormheim, you see that she's like talking to the Vrykul, and then she's in Helheim. Is that what it is? Hell.
Yep.
Yeah. So she gets that little lantern of blue stuff, and then Greymane breaks it, and he's like, "Screw you! You're not gonna live forever." And she's like, and then I guess that's where. And I guess that's where.
Yeah.
I guess that's where it left off. Like, what was her whole thing? Like, what was the point of her doing all that? Was it just to get, like, to live forever, or like keep, like, what was that?
Pretty much, yeah. Immortality and to build up troops. Basically, for those that haven't checked out her short story yet on the WoW website, please do. It's called Edge of Night. Basically, when we defeated the Lich King, Sylvanas, her purpose was done, right? That was her whole mission throughout being turned by Arthas. And she decided to throw herself from the top of Icecrown to end her life. But instead of, eternal bliss, no afterlife, she ended up in Hell. And not Helheim, as far as I could tell, just a hell where she was being tormented by beings. But thankfully for Sylvanas, the Valkyr showed up, and they offered her a deal. We'll take your place in Hell, we'll even give you the power to make more Forsaken, and in exchange, you'll liberate us from Bolvar's control. Naturally, with the torment going on, Sylvanas was like, yes, get me out of here, please. So the Valkyr took her place in Hell, they got Sylvanas out of there, and from that point on, her whole goal, her story arc became staying alive, right? Postponing that eternal damnation. Now, you could speculate about the Valkyr's goal in all of this. You could speculate about, was this truly the hell waiting for Sylvanas, or was this a vision from Yogg-Saron or a vision from the Valkyr? But that's pure speculation at this point. From that point on, we see Sylvanas with the Valkyr making more troops. Garrosh's not happy with her, but she doesn't care. We see her use the Plague. Garrosh's not happy with her, she doesn't care. We see her lose a couple of Valkyr along the way. And just before you go into Stormheim and before you go into that whole mission, she actually explains on the boat, like, listen, champion, we are going for the Aegis, but I myself will be trying to get a different prize, a prize waiting for me within the vault. And this prize, I often wonder about what's going to happen with the Forsaken. We cannot reproduce, we cannot have undead babies. Are we then not destined to wither away? I'm not going to let that happen, not as long as there's the power in the world to keep death at bay. And that's her goal, right? That's why she goes to Stormheim. So the events play out between the Alliance and Hordes. Greymane hates Sylvanas for what she did to his son, for what she did to Gilneas, and now for abandoning the Alliance on the Broken Shores. The other captain, trying to recall her name right now, but Rogers, Admiral Rogers, she hates Sylvanas for what she did to South Shore because she plagued South Shore. They see the Forsaken troops and they take the shot. Skyfire out of the sky, and from that point on, the Horde Alliance story arc splits again until they meet up with Sylvanas in Helheim. And there comes in the territory of speculation. We know that Sylvanas is making some sort of deal with Helja, and Helja gives her the lantern, which allows her to take control of Ea. But why? Why does Helja help her out? We don't know yet at this point, and Helja is going to play a part in, I think, the next patch. If you've seen the Karazhan promotional trailer,
yeah, there's like
Helja
a mini
did pop
raid,
up. I think so as well. So she is still going to play her part. Perhaps that deal that Sylvanas tried to make with her, perhaps that's going to play a part in that. Either way, we don't know. She tells the Horde heroes, like, find your own way out. And she laughs at the Alliance heroes, is like, if you can find your way out. So we do. We eventually end up at that village where the Shield Maidens are trying to fight over the honor of becoming a Valkyr. And we figure out how the ritual works, we figure out how to present ourselves, and what did you know it, the statue that we communicate with is actually the undead spirit that we helped out before. She's like, okay, I know you, hero, you get to go in. So the Horde players betray the trust of the spirits, whereas the Alliance players are trying to stop Sylvanas. They enter the vault, and there the cutscene happens. with Sylvanas trying to take control of Aegir. Aegir has the power to make more Valkyr. Now, it's uncertain, did she try to submit Aegir into becoming her slave, or did she actually try to absorb her powers? That part is unclear. But what we do know is that Greymane is there, and Greymane is like, oh, Sylvanas. Oh, Sylvanas, you are not gonna get this power. Not if I can help it. He jumps up out of the shadows, they have their battle. Sylvanas looking all smirky, like, oh, I overestimated you, old wolf. And the Greymane is like, nope, I got your lantern. Kaboof! So, Aegir is liberated. And some might wonder, like, what exactly is Aegir? I think she's a Titan Watcher, as she's described, so like a Titan Keeper. Mm-hmm. She is released, doesn't take a revenge upon Sylvanas for some reason, and Sylvanas herself is also like, oh, Greymane, you win this round, but next time, buddy, ooh. Yeah. So, the cutscene cuts out, Alliance wakes up with Greymane being healed from the poison, and Sylvanas being ticked off. But Sylvanas does mention, like, okay, I failed now, but I will get Aegir. If I have to chase her down the halls of Velen myself, I will get her. And that's where the story ends for now.
Alright. So, like, one thing you did mention was the whole, like, she's like, find your way out of hell from here. And we're like, but we're part of your army. Wouldn't you be like, hey, I want these guys out of here? Like, right?
I think it falls down to, like, the mythos behind it. It's the same rules as why doesn't Odin simply give us the Ages of Agramar. There's, like, trials and like, prove yourself worthy and that kind of stuff. And next to that, like, Sylvanas does not control Helheim. Helja is the mistress of Helheim, and she decides who gets to go and who gets to stay. And if she makes a bargain with you, then even Helja has to keep it. But it's not up to Sylvanas to decide, like, okay, you get to go with me now. But it is a fair question. Like, how did Sylvanas end up there? Like, did her Valkyr carry her there? Did she kill herself again? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
It's still up for speculation. Like, you could say she's a banshee. She's already half foot into the Shadowlands, but who knows?
And then her becoming warchief. Like, I don't know why. Why would they select Sylvanas over someone like Bane Bloodhoof?
I answered this
question. He's just a nice, he's a nice Tarn boy that wants, you know, come on.
I answered this question on stream as well. Have you ever watched Scrubs with the booby horn? Just insert the booby horn if you're ever gonna edit this, like, boobies. It's fan service, pure and simple. I know that I'm pissing off a lot of Sylvanas fans here, but yeah, it's a lot of the big reason why Sylvanas was on the promotional trailer on the boat instead of Vol'jin, because by that point Vol'jin was still warchief, is because Sylvanas just has a massive fan base. Now you could argue, like, for your point, like, why isn't Bane made warchief? I personally feel like Sylvanas, despite the whole fan base that's going after her, I think Sylvanas is the most I mean, it's the best out of the litter, as hard as it says. Like, you have Lor'themar Varan, but Lor'themar nearly abandoned the Horde during Mist of Pandaria to save his own ass to go to the Alliance. Do you want that as a warchief? Bane is, in my opinion, a bit too passive. He's a bit too passive about things. He's like, oh, you know, let's Vol'jin take care of things. Like, Vol'jin, help me, there's a rebellion. In my opinion, a little bit too passive. Then you got, not Mechatork, his counterpart, Gallywix.
Yeah, Gallywix.
And then he's like, does it make me a prophet? No? Well, screw the Horde. And then you have G Firepaw. Does anybody even know about G Firepaw? No, you don't. So from the ones that you could pick, I personally think Sylvanas is the better ones. Like, you could have said Sourfang, stuff like that. I would have loved to see Sourfang as warchief. But again, fan service, she is a very powerful being. And of course, the story arc that they go with between Greymane and Sylvanas that you see build up in Stormheim, it definitely has potential. And who knows where the story is going to pick up from here. Like, Sylvanas definitely has potential, even though she's now going out for her own gain. If you read the description on the Legion website, it said Sylvanas will have to make the choice between her own people and damnation. When I read that, she wasn't made warchief yet, so I figured the choice between the Forsaken and Eternal Damnation. But right now, the Horde is her people, right?
Yeah.
So is she going to be forced to make a choice between the Horde and Eternal Damnation, and what is she going to pick?
So we may have a little bit of like a lead on some future stuff that's gonna occur.
The story is not finished yet, and I definitely agree that the events that show in Stormheim is definitely all about Sylvanas. But truth be told, she never asked the Horde to help her out. She just flew into it. at the start, she says this is a prize that I am going to collect. She doesn't ask the Horde members to help her out. It's just at some point, Nathanos calls you over and he's like, go help the Banshee Queen. And you're like, okay, I'll do it. So, yeah.
I know Jesse had a big rant. He was just like, Sourfang should be the war chief. Sylvanas doesn't deserve it. And he was arguing with chat. So that was what happened when we were live streaming.
I was arguing with chat about Sylvanas being a war chief. I'm a big fan of Sylvanas. Like I like to joke around with people being horn dogs about her, which, to be fair, there is the fan base out there. Let's be honest. But I think she is an awesome character. I think it's very interesting with her afterlife and her choices. And for all the things you can say about the events that went down in Stormheim, at least she stays true to character. At least she is still doing everything in her power to stay out of hell. And I could appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind Sylvanas. I feel like it's just kind of like, I don't know who would have been the war chief. I guess I do like Sourfang. After Jesse like told me all about Sourfang, I was like, shit, dude, that guy's a beast.
Sourfang is awesome. He is old though, but he's definitely awesome. But I think again, the whole Stormheim arc between Greymane and Windrunner, that would have never existed. Well, maybe it would have existed, but just not on the forefront if it wasn't for Sylvanas. And who knows where the story arc is going to go. I actually did a little bit of speculating the other day about... Do you want to go into it?
Sure.
We know that Sylvanas tossed herself from the top of Icecrown, and she was liberated by the Valkyr, but we don't know why. Who's to say that the hell that she ended up in was truly what was going to happen to her? Perhaps the Valkyr actually showed her that vision, and they manipulated Sylvanas into allying with them. Skip ahead a few years to Legion, where Vol'jin is being told by the spirits that Sylvanas should be war chief. Who's to say that those spirits were actually the Valkyr manipulating things from behind the curtains? They were like, Vol'jin, make her war chief. We need her as a war chief. So Vol'jin make a war chief. And later on the expansion, we find Jaina on the Isle of Kal'Tras, where she has teamed up with King Rastakhan. And Rastakhan is like the leader of the Zandalari. He has connections to the Loa Bonsamdi, the Loa of the Dead, who informs us what the Valkyr are up to. They are manipulating Sylvanas, they are controlling her, and they are trying to make her do all these terrible, terrible things that shouldn't be going down. So at that point, we have a place where we need to rescue Sylvanas from the Valkyr, as well as a possibility of bringing Vol'jin back. It could be a possible story arc, but, you know, we'll see where it's all going to go in Legion. Like I said, the story is not told yet, so very similar to where we started off in this video with Illidan being the Holy Warrior of Light. I'm still holding off judgment until we actually see it take place. And if I see Illidan flying up there with a halo above his head, then I'll go facepalming.
Alright, so if I was writing the WoW lore...
oh yes, go on.
If I had to take Sylvanas and twist it into having some fun fan servicey expansions, I would make it so she goes to an alternate timeline, and she becomes...
No, I'm gonna stop you right there. No alternate universes anymore, Crendor. I already have a hard enough time.
She becomes the Lich Queen, and then you go with Arthas to take her down. How cool would that be? You get Paladin Arthas. You and Paladin Arthas are like, we must stop this Lich Queen, and you take down Sylvanas in Icecrown Citadel. I think that'd be great.
I was taught that if you don't have anything nice to say, you shouldn't say anything at all. Nah, I mean, I just have such... After Warlords, I hate alternate realities with a passion.
Yeah.
But the potential of fighting side by side with Arthas, an alternate Arthas against our Sylvanas... I don't know, dude.
All right, let's keep it in this timeline. Sylvanas can resurrect people. She resurrects Arthas, and then madness unfolds.
And why would Sylvanas resurrect the one who placed her in eternal damnation?
So she can kill him. Again. Because she hates him. And now she's like, shit, dude. I can just res him up and kill him. He won't even be the Lich King, but I can just kill him again.
Kind of cool. Although she does, going back to the vision that was shown to her when she was tossed into hell, Arthas was there with her. So she already knows that Arthas' spirit is in hell. So would she try to drag him out of there?
Oh shit, Arthas is in hell?
Hell yeah, he is. Well, again, we've seen bits and pieces of Arthas' soul scattered around different quest lines. But yeah, from the short story, Arthas is in the same hell that Sylvanas ended up in. And he didn't have the Valkyrie to drag him out of there.
Well, my main concern I wanted to bring up with you, which again is craziness, is how would they ever bring Arthas back if they were to bring Arthas back, which I don't think they'll do, but if they did, how do you think they would do it that would kind of make sense?
Yeah, the thing with me is I personally don't like it when they bring back dead characters into the story. Like, Illidan is the exception because they just simply butchered his story arc in Burning Crusade. But say that we go with that, then I would say that his sister, that is currently working together with the priest, she has tight connections to the light, to the Naru and to Velen. And she uses those connections to convince the Naru that not only Illidan is needed for this army of light, we need one of the most fallen paladins ever, Arthas Meneville. So Kaelia works on convincing the Naru to resurrect her bro. And in order to do that, we need to bring him out of hell. So we are actually going into the tormented realm that Sylvanas was shown. How are we going to go in there? With the help of Eir. Eir has the power to make more Valkyr. I'm sure she can make like a Valkyr boat that allows us to go into hell. We collect the spirit of Arthas, we drag him out of there while fighting against Hell Beasts, and we inform like, yo, Arthas, listen. And like Theon Greyjoy from Game of Thrones, Arthas is such a broken body, he will do anything that we say. He will do anything. So we put him back into his body, into his holy armor, and like, Arthas, we need you, buddy. And slowly but surely, his story arc is to rekindle with the light. So he goes out to learn what it's actually like to be a true paladin, even though he butchered most of the paladins. I'm sure we can find some of them and can teach him the way. Maybe we'll torment him a little bit to hang out with Anduin, and Anduin can teach him the way. And then eventually he's ready to go. And we put him on the battlefield next to Illidan and Tyrellian and Illyria. It's gonna be great.
Not even gonna lie, that sounds amazing. I would be all for that. I don't even care. That sounds awesome.
There you go. And we'll get like Bolvar, who gets jealous of Arthas, and then Bolvar also becomes an enemy. Or like, Bolvar, calm down, mate. We got like Death Knights now with artifacts. You're our B word.
Oh, what's the whole deal with like Bolvar now? Because I know he's the Lich King now, but he's frozen, right? Like on the frozen throne. So like, we still, like, as a fire mage, I go there and he's like, hey, good job, fire mage, and I get out of here. Like, I'm like, wait, what? What's happening?
Bolvar and the Lich King is very hard to say. I actually tweeted about this with Jesse today as well. Jesse thought that it was purely Ner'zhul still in the Lich King. I see it differently. Basically, the way I see it, the Lich King is an entity of its own, and I compare it to the symbiote from Spider-Man. It needs a host, and whenever it gets a host, it gains its memories, its strengths, it becomes more powerful. So we've seen the Lich King with Arthas as a host, and during Wrath of the Lich King, which was the strangest thing, the Lich King would proclaim, I used to be a shaman. But Arthas was never a shaman, it was Ner'zhul that was a shaman. So already, it seemed like there were two entities in there, right? You had Arthas, and you had Shaman Ner'zhul. Then we saw Matthias Laner, which was like Arthas' good side, but he supposedly stabbed with Frostmourne, giving out quests. So that's apparently in there. Now we see Bolvar, who's like, you know, my fate is sealed. Give me the job as Jailer of the Damned, even though it makes no damn sense. But whatever. He was turned into the Lich King, and it almost seems like there are two entities in there. It seems like there is Bolvar trying to help out the world, telling Fire Mages like, hey, good job, Fire Mage, get out. And then there's the Lich King, who's like, listen, I am willing to help you out, but it's gonna cost you. You know, just go resurrect that one and go resurrect that one. Slowly but surely, you are coming back into my domain of darkness. So it almost seems like there are two entities at work here.
Interesting.
But like I said, it's entirely up for interpretation because it's been very, very vague.
Yeah. I think that's the problem with a lot of the undeveloped like lore, is it's just so vague because it's undeveloped. So
Yeah, and just turned around and twisted so many times. Like,
Yeah.
different teams having different directions with characters that just ends up being like, okay, what's the truth now? What's going on here? And we end up with making our own explanations for it.
Yeah. It's like, no, that didn't happen even though you played through it. This happened. It's like, oh, okay. Well, thanks for
What,
clarifying.
Neptulon was captured? No, Neptulon wasn't captured. Neptulon liberated himself. When? We tweeted about it. Have you done the Shaman campaign?
No. I know Jesse said it was the worst one.
You start off with teaching shamans how to light a fucking campfire.
Yeah, that's what
that was just the start.
He is just like, hey Crendor, I'm lighting campfires and killing kobolds. What are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm a shadow priest finding out about old gods and absorbing like their power. He's like, oh, that's cool. I'm lighting campfires.
Yep, and basically what happened during the Cataclysm, if you remember that underwater dungeon with Neptulon, who's like, feel the power of purge water, purge! Yeah. He's taken away by Ozumat, like this gigantic tentacle creature.
Mm-hmm.
And that storyline was never continued because they were actually planning to do like an Abyssal Maw raid, which is the elemental plane of water. Never happened. So instead what they did is they went on Twitter and they tweeted out, Neptulon was able to liberate himself. To which a lot of response came like, what? Why would you do that? There's like a story arc you can build on. Why would you resolve that on Twitter? They got a lot of backlash. They're like, okay. Just keep his fate as unresolved for now. And now with Legion, we find out that Neptulon has liberated himself. The story arc did indeed die. And some point on the beta, I don't know if that's still live. At some point on the beta, which I thought was pretty damn cute, you see Neptulon show up with Ozumat as his pet. I was like, that was nice, but apparently they removed it.
Oh. Sad times, Blizzard. Come on.
Give it to me, please. The same for Coltera, that you liberate. Coltera was taken to the Undercity by Sylvanas. Massive potential. For years he was captured there, and we finally get to set him free. Is there any story arc? Do we ever find out what Sylvanas did to him? Nope. Completely up for interpretation. So of course the internet took that in the most dirty way possible, but yeah, again, a story arc that they could have definitely done something with and just never happened.
I thought it would be funny if there was a character, since like vanilla WoW, where every time you try to kill him, he just gets away with like 1 hit point. And he's like, I'll get you next time. And then every expansion after that, he would return. Kind of like how when you fight the bosses, they're like, I'll see you in the dungeon. And then they get away. Mm-hmm. But just kind of repeating over and over throughout every expansion. Doesn't even have to be a dungeon boss or anything. Just like a quest guy. You're like, that's Tricky McGee. He always gets away. I thought that would be cool. But I mean, they missed out on that now because we're far too into the World of Warcraft storyline to introduce one, unless they wanted to start now.
We kind of got one, like Mailhouse Mana Storm.
Yeah, but it's not the same. It's not what I'm like looking for. I want like you fight him, get him down to 1 HP, and then you're like, we're gonna get him this time, and then he gets away, and it's like yeah, like that, kind of like the cartoon villain, almost like he got away again. Damn.
Oh, get you next time.
Yeah, exactly. The Dr. Claw. So yeah, the only other thing I had on my list was Ysera, because that kind of confused me. I was like, so Ysera got corrupted, right? And I was like, oh shit, he's gonna like have a Ysera mount now. Like, this is gonna be some crazy shit. And then it's like, Ysera's dead. And I was like, what?
Why did you have to bring her up? Ysera.
Why'd she get rid of her dragon powers? Why'd she go mortal? That was dumb.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, Ysera. Hard to say why that went down. Like, for those who are confused about what exactly happened, at the end of the Cataclysm, the dragon aspects apparently fulfilled their destiny by taking down Deathwing and preventing the Hour of Twilight. This ending sucks. Like, it's probably one of the worst endings that they've ever made, for multiple reasons. Like, part of it is there's still old gods out there, so the aspects would be damn handy to have. Part of it is that if the Titans never gave Deathwing his power, then the Hour of Twilight, as it went down during the Cataclysm, would have never happened. So basically, they created the aspects their destiny by giving them their aspect powers. But besides that, they decided that after the Cataclysm, the aspects and the dragons lost a significant portion of their power. They became immortals, and they could no longer reproduce. Which you might think, well, that could lead to some interesting storytelling. You know, dragons trying to find a way in the mortal realm. Like, how are they going to live out their lives?
Yeah.
The best we got was Caligos getting it on with Jaina. That's honestly the best we've got so far of an example. And the rest has just been, you know, oh, there's Ysera. Oh, bye, Ysera, you're dead now.
It's not even real Jaina, it's a Dreadlord.
Please stop it. Oh, Crendor. It hurts so much, dude. Every single stream and the stupid Dreadlord's jokes. It was funny the first million times, but now it just hurts.
The thing is, Jesse doesn't think it's a joke. He thinks it's real.
No way.
He thinks it's legit real.
Ugh, no. He thinks it's a... Don't. I've actually seen people posted about it as well. Like, Jaina's truly a Dreadlord. If Blizzard goes with that, I'm going to be so disappointed.
He wrote, when we visited Blizzard, he wrote it on the whiteboard right outside of, what's his name's office? The Morheim. There's a whiteboard right by Morheim's office, and he wrote Jaina as a Dreadlord on it, and it was there for like a month. He knows something. He left it there. Illuminati confirmed.
Oh, man. I don't want to take it as drastically as saying is if they go that route, I'm just done with the lore, but it's going to hurt. It's definitely going to hurt. Like Warlords of Draenor level hurt. Anyways, like that said, like the whole Ysera storyline, the cinematic created by Taron Gregory's team and the entire team that worked on it. Oh man, the feelings. I've seen people literally cry about it, man. It was really beautifully done. So for this the send-off, it was beautiful. And then apparently, if we're going to go into the Nightmare Raid, we'll see some sort of echoes here and there. But for those asking, like, is Ysera truly dead, or will she go to the Emerald Dream? It seems like they truly killed her off. Why? I mean, the dragons seem to be done, sort of. They seem to be killed off. Well, at the same time, if we look at the Black Dragon flight, we suddenly find out about another uncorrupted Black Dragon and an artifact that creates more uncorrupted Black Dragons. So on the one hand, they're killing them off, on the other hand, they're making possibilities for more. So yeah.
I know Jesse was talking about that with like the Black Prince. That's his name, right? The Black Prince?
Yeah, Wrathion.
Yeah, right. And how he seems like he's got that same type of I'm a good guy, or he has like good intentions, but they're kind of evil intentions. Like, yeah, we just gotta kill off the Horde. But I don't like. What's his actual plan, or what do they say is his plan?
Wrathion is not so much good or evil. Wrathion is truly what we try to make, an uncorrupted Earth Warden, meaning he is there to defend the planets. Doesn't care about what's living on the planets. He is there to defend the planet. So what he tried to do during Mist of Pandaria was to bring a quick and decisive end to the Horde Alliance conflict, so that we could focus on the coming Legion that he had seen. From this, he placed his money on the Alliance for winning. But in the end, Varian decided to not dismantle the Horde, to not take any action. And he was pissed about this, which I didn't really understand, because at the end of Mist of Pandaria, the Horde Alliance conflict ended. Like, the Alliance and Horde were some sort of peace going on with each other. They were like, they're not friendly, but, you know, they're willing to work together. Yeah. So I didn't really understand why he was pissed about it. Like, you have your army that you wanted. It's not the way that you wanted it to happen, but at least you had it. But apparently Wrathion, you know, got to keep in mind he's like only 2 or 3 years old now. It didn't work out the way that he wanted to. So he decided, brilliant idea, to let Garrosh Hellscream out of prison, send him to an alternate reality, make a new Horde, and have that Horde help us out in the battle against Legion. Not realizing that someone like Garrosh doesn't like to be controlled. Garrosh choked Kairos, who brought him to alternate Draenor, choked him to death, like stabbed him, and he did form the Horde as planned, just not to help us out. Instead, he used it to invade Azeroth. Oopsie on Raphion's side. There was actually a beta quest line. What we now have with Ebonhorn, what you see in the Vault of Nefarian in the High Mountain quest chain. Have you done that one?
I think I have.
In the past, it used to be Wrathion that actually guides you through it instead of this new Black Dragon. And he actually told you, like, yeah, sorry for what happened during Warlords. It didn't go down as planned. It's like, oh, okay. So yeah, in short, what is Raphion's goal? Is he evil? Is he good? Good and evil is always from the eye of the beholder, always from a perspective. And for us, Wrathion is an ally as long as we try to keep Azeroth safe. if we are a threat to the planet, then Wrathion quickly becomes our enemy.
I see. So do you think we could ever fight Wrathion? Or no? I mean, maybe...
I surely hope not.
I would imagine he helps in, like, making the planet stable, and then we leave for outer space. Is that a possibility?
I mean, you'd imagine that he would be part of the story of Legion, since he was the one who foresaw the Legion coming, but he's been cut out, and he hasn't shown up yet. So I hope that he's still going to make an appearance somewhere. But could we fight Wrathion? We could. Like, anybody can turn into an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
But I just hope not, because, you know, we had the whole Deathwing, Black Dragonflight, this evil story arc. I would like to see something more or better out of Wrathion.
Yeah, I agree with that. And aside from that, I mean, the last thing I just thought of as I flew over it was Suramar. So, could you explain, just like really briefly, like the story of Suramar? Because I haven't gotten that deep into it. It just seems like we're helping out a bunch of mana crackheads.
Have you been keeping up with the Blood Elf storyline during the Burning Crusade?
No.
Okay.
But I remember from Warcraft 3, there were a bunch of mana crackheads.
Yeah, it's basically that story. Like, what happened was, they were there when Queen Azshara tried to summon the Legion.
Mm-hmm.
They saw that it was no good, so they raised a shield over their city to protect themselves, to hide them away. And for 10,000 years, they hid beneath the shield. In that time, they created their own well, the Night Well called, with the Eye of Aman'Thul. They used that artifact, that Pillar of Creation, to make the well. They fed on the well, and over the years, over the millennia, they became dependent on it. Very similar to the High Elf Blood Elf story arc, where the High Elf became dependent on the Sun Well. These Nightborn became dependent on the Night Well. Very original story. So anyways, the biggest punishment in the city is being exiled. If you're exiled from the city, that means you're cut off from the well, and you'll slowly start to devolve. First, you become a Knight Fallen, which is the most of the characters that we party with that are like, do you have any extra mana for me? Runas the Shamed, for example, he started off as a Knight Fallen. And from that point on, they need to do everything in their power to sustain their mana. If they don't, then they fall even further into something, I think, a Withered. I'm pretty sure it's a Withered. And once you're a Withered, you just lose your mind, you lose your whole identity, and you become those creepy monsters that we now use our crystal on to force them to do whatever we want them to do.
Yeah.
Those are the Withered. So that's basically the story. So what happened, they raised their shields 10,000 years ago, but now we have Gul'dan knocking on the door, and he's like, okay, you got two choices. Either you lower your shield and you ally with us, or we are going to bring your shield down and murder everyone. And their leader, Elisanda, was like, what do I do? What do I do? Okay, you know what? I'm just going to ally with the Legion. I have no other choice. She allies with the Legion. The Talistra, I think she's called. She's like, oh no, we shouldn't do this. So she tries to stop them. She's betrayed, kicked out of the city, and she sees Gul'dan and the Legion infiltrate her city, take over her people, and all the good stuff. Now, I'm not going to spoil what's going to happen next. But basically, we're building up a resistance. As you go through the questline, you can see we're getting allies, we're infiltrating the city, we're getting these Withered, we're getting these troops. We're making ready to take the battle to Elisanda, to Gul'dan, to the Suramar raid. We're taking action to reclaim the city. And what I hope is the end result is that we can actually either become just friendly with the city, just not run around as a masquerade party, but actually just run around in there, or actually get like a building inside, like a little inn or house. I would love to live in Suramar. It's such a beautiful city.
Yeah, that would be cool, but then again, Blizzard's like, player housing.
Would you like another garrison? You'll never leave.
Then again, now that they got all this happening, like maybe they'll be like, hey, you got your player house, you just gotta tie it in with your class hall and everything. Like, who knows? Who knows what they'll do?
Yeah, or just be able to run around without hearing every 5 seconds like, who goes there? An illusion. What are you hiding? I'm sorry, I'm just running around here. Leave me alone.
So I think that's all I got for you.
Cool.
Yeah.
I hope I wasn't too rambly. Like, I definitely had to think about a couple of details here and there, but I hope I made sense overall.
I'm glad I made you think. That's at least I didn't ask you really boring questions.
No, they were excellent, man.
Nice. So, with that said, I'm sure if someone listened to this entire video, they probably do want to hear more, so you can plug yourself one more time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested in the story of Legion as it's gonna unfold, please check out my YouTube channel, Nobbel87, or Nobbel87, as you guys say it, where I cover the story of Legion. I am planning to do everything. That means leveling up every character to max level, order halls, all the artifacts, all the zones, both the Alliance and Horde point of view. YouTube, Nobbel87, twitch.tv/Nobbel87, Twitter and Facebook, all the good stuff. You know where to find me.
There you go. You're getting better at it, that shameless promotion.
I've learned from the master.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you later.
See ya.
See ya.